Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So sorry this is rolled out a little bit late. This should have been rolled out yesterday, but we had gone on a trip to Vegas and I was just extremely tired. It took a lot out of me that weekend. So I'm doing the video today, editing today, and releasing today, Tuesday. So normally I have this done obviously before Monday, even though it's a day off, whatever, what can you do? I wanted to talk about our trip to Vegas this past weekend. We had this trip planned for, I don't know, probably about 6 months. And I've been having like an extreme amount of anxiety about this trip, probably for the last, I don't know, at least a month leading up to it, because like I said, we had been planning this for about 6 months and we were going down there for a friend's birthday party. And Josh and I had planned on having my mom watch Atlas, and it was going to be our first time away from him. You know, the goal is that it would be exactly 3 months. I'd be able to breastfeed exclusively and start introducing a bottle by this time, and it would be our first trip away without him, and he would stay with his grandma. So I had a lot of anxiety about this because obviously our situation has changed, and it's different than the trip we took when we went to the coast, because that was on a whim. That was a trip that we just decided that we needed to get away and kind of regroup and be together as a couple. And so even though that trip was hard just because, you know, I was missing him, this one was hard in a completely different way. I was having so much built up anxiety because we had planned this trip around having a baby. Atlas was supposed to be here. He was, you know, so involved in our future plans. At least up until this point, we had everything ready to go, everything planned out. So I had talked to my counselor about it the day before we had left, and I told her I was going to try and go, and that if it was too much for me, you know, I could go to the hotel. We had already paid for the hotel and everything like that, so if we didn't go, it would be like we were losing, you know, almost $300. And I decided that even if it was really bad, I could go hang out in the hotel, you know, kind of regroup, be by myself. And she said, well, you know, what would happen if you kind of pushed through your anxiety? Like if you felt one of those, you know, feelings coming on and you just kind of pushed through it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I would hope that I wouldn't freak out too much, but the anxiety crept up pretty fast on the way down. So maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes into the drive, I got really emotional and I just started, you know, tearing up, just thinking about everything, thinking about how much different our lives should be right now. And like, I was just in the car and like my tears were welling up, and I was just thinking, like, I don't know, it's the way that I described it to Josh was I feel like I wasn't even in the right reality. Like I feel like somehow I'm trapped in this alternate reality, and the one that I'm supposed to be in is one where we're going to Vegas, and I'm crying in the car on the way there because I'm leaving him for the first time. But instead, I'm trapped in this reality where I was crying because we're going on this trip and he's supposed to be staying at his grandma's and he's not. So I, you know, took some deep breaths after, you know, a good half hour of crying and seemed to make it there okay. And I was doing okay again until we had met up with the group that we were supposed to be there with. We had met up at a bar, and I don't know, it was the first time I had been around a group of people. I mean, there was just 2, 4, 6, 8 of us total. It was okay. Like at first I felt like I was gonna totally be a buzzkill and just be, you know, Debbie Downer, because I felt that way. Like I felt like I couldn't really smile fully, and we had changed tables, and I don't know what it was, but we were there for maybe, gosh, I don't know if we were there for maybe 45 minutes. I don't think we were there for quite an hour yet, but I was just sitting there and I was just watching everyone, like not only in the group but people around in the bar, and I was just watching them have a good time, and just like they had no cares in the world, while I'm sitting there trying to keep it together just so that I don't ruin everyone's trip. And I just like started getting teary-eyed again. I didn't want to like make anyone feel uncomfortable, so I went to the bathroom and just like was crying in there. And then our friend whose birthday it was, bless her freaking sweetheart, she came in to check on me, and I felt totally bad because it's her freaking birthday and here I am like crying in the bathroom like a big old boob. And like, so I came out and I talked to her, and you know, rehashing things that we've already talked about in the past, but I don't know, it was nice that I was able to kind of voice it and get it all out, and you know, just talked about how I was so mad, and I can't even be sad, I'm just mad. Like, my sadness turns to anger like that. So we sat in there and talked for like a good probably half hour also, crying, both of us. I feel so bad. Cortney, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I mean, I am really grateful for her that she came in and kind of like comforted me, even though it was her birthday. Like, she totally didn't have to do that. And I don't know, it kind of helped me to talk about it, helped me release all of that I had built up. And after that, kind of relaxed a little bit. I got sad again the next day, but it wasn't nearly as bad. It was hard, and I wanted to talk about it because obviously anybody in this situation, or even anyone who's lost someone close to them, doesn't even have to be a child, where you have plans that involve them, and then like specific things, and then you go on to do those things that you had already planned with them being there, and it just totally, it gets you in the most messed up way. And another thing that came along with this trip that I struggled with was people thinking that I'm okay. Like, it was the first time that I had put on makeup since having Atlas, and I put a couple of pictures on my Snapchat, you know, some pictures of us playing craps and whatever, and I had some people like message me like, oh, it's nice to see you wearing makeup, and oh, hope you're having fun in Vegas, and looks like you're having fun. And I don't know, like, it was an okay time, but I don't want people to think that I'm like over it, because I'm not. And I know I shouldn't care what people think, but it was kind of like worrying me that people were thinking that I'm like having this great old time and I've forgotten about my baby, and I haven't. Like, it was a struggle. It was a struggle being there. It was a struggle doing all of the things that we did. Like, he was on my mind all the time. I remember I forgot my wedding ring and my Atlas ring in the hotel room, and I had to go back. And it wasn't even because I wanted like my wedding ring. I wanted my Atlas ring. I wanted that with me. So like, I worry that people are thinking that or did think that when they saw that, because that's definitely not the case. And if you were thinking that, that's not true at all. You saw me trying to have a good time despite feeling poorly most of the time. That was me fighting through. That was me trying my best to put on a happy face so that everybody wasn't, you know, down in the dumps with me. So if you've dealt with something like that, know that it's okay to try to have a good time. The chances are you having a big old blast like you would have before whatever you've gone through is not very likely. I definitely was not having as good of a time as I would have had the situation been different. And if you don't feel like going, that's perfectly fine too. I was teetering on that for a month and a half. Like, I was stressing about it. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not gonna go. But then if I didn't go, Josh would be gone and I might have anxiety about him being gone. And if he stayed with me, then we'd be losing out on $300. And so I was like, no, I'm just gonna go. Kind of going all over the place now, but know that whatever decision you make, if you are in a situation that comes down to that whatever decision you make, it's right for you. And you only know how to handle it once you're put in the position. Nobody can tell you how to handle it, and nobody can tell you what's best for you. Only you know that. And if you're worrying about people judging you, I don't know what to say about that, because I worry about that too, and it's just something that I need to get over. Like, if they think that I'm like having this great old time, you know, whatever, like, let them think whatever they want. And I just shouldn't worry about it, because I know my truth and I know how I'm really feeling, and whether they want to believe that I'm this terrible person for going and doing that, or if they think that, oh, well, maybe she's good enough that she's gonna come out to all these things now. No, that's not true at all. I am still very much more comfortable at home. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful to you, or if you know someone who it would be helpful for, then share it with them. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will just talk to you guys on my next one. Bye.